Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 16th, 2019 regular City Council meeting. Would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Cochran.
Here.
Councilmember Gonzalez. Absent. Councilmember Hamrick.
Here.
Councilmember Jaquez.
Here.
Councilmember Meisner.
Here.
Councilmember Turner. Absent. Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Here.
Mayor Troutman.
Here. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. If you would like to speak to council, we have sheets back there in the back. Would you just go ahead and fill them out? We'd like to have your name and address and your name, of course, and bring it to Cindy. And now if it's something during the course of our meeting, we'll wait till that is brought up. Other than that, we'll put it in as we go along. So, anyone else? Okay. Council members, any announcements from any council members? Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to give congratulations to Fremont Adventure Recreation for their gala fundraiser they did. It was a really excellent evening for fundraising for trails. And also on the suicide walk, and they looked like they had an incredible turnout there as well, and for how they're bringing the community together around an issue that's really important to us, as we have high suicide rates in Fremont County, and really grateful for what they do. And I also wanted to bring something to your attention, Ryan. I've had a couple suggestions from citizens to see if it would be possible to get trash cans on the top of Skyline. There's a lot of trash up there, and there's no trash cans, and maybe even signs if needed.
Okay, yeah, we'll look into that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Smith. Anyone else? Oh, well, let's remember Wednesday, we have Vision Committee meeting, and on that meeting, we're going to be talking about the shelter contract, Golden Age, and the clock tower. The clock and the clock tower, the lot there. So that convenes at 6 o'clock here in these chambers. And Ms. Gonzalez has arrived.
Now we can really start.
Now we can really go. So that is the Vision Committee meeting at 6 o'clock on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, we have a 4 o'clock meeting. It's a special city, it's not secret, it's a special city council meeting announced to talk about the Highway 50 corridor plan, which is our 5th meeting regarding that plan. If you're interested in what's going on from approximately 1st Street, right around the bend there at Soda Point to 15th, that will be a reveal not only with banks and with maps and discussion. If you'd like to discuss that and come and join us, please. We'd like to have you. So, Mr. Meisner?
Is that whole session, what's happening at 4 o'clock?
So that's a staff work session because council had asked to be involved. We're posting those as public meetings.
It says open house, doesn't it?
I believe the open house is actually going to be in November.
Yeah, I apologize, that got changed.
Well, the layout of what the open house is going to look like on that agenda will be discussed at that time, time-wise and everything.
Yeah, that was my error.
So,
Okay. I
Okay.
just got confused. She was successful.
and tomorrow morning I'll be at the Chamber of Commerce Directors meeting, and that's about it. Anyone else? Okay. Well, then, let's call up Mr. Story. Would you like to approach the podium, and you want to talk about the opening of Main Street? It is open, isn't it? Yes, okay. That's right. I drove it. It's beautiful.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to talk tonight about the opening of Main Street. It's been closed for, I think, about 3 months. I was down there today. When you drive it, kind of be careful. They're marking the center lines. They're doing that, but it's smooth as silk, and it's nice for it to be open. And we need to spend a little bit of money down there, especially with Goodwill. We need to spend money at Sherman-Williams. We need to spend money down at City Market. Even the post office, you can get there now. Of course, be careful because there's still, put in the final touches with it, and just drive down there and spend some money. And thank you for letting me speak. Last but not least, USA, USA, USA. Thanks for letting me speak, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone have a good night.
Thank you, George. Thank you. Thank you, George. I'd ask the acting city administrator to review the agenda and the consent agenda.
All right, Mr. Mayor and members of council, item 7A is the approval of minutes for the regular city council meeting on May 6th and September 3rd, special city council meeting May 14th and May 17th, and the general government meetings on May 8th and September 4th. 7B authorizes the mayor to sign a letter of support for Fremont Economic Development for the Colorado Workforce Development Council grant. 7C authorizes the mayor to sign a letter of support for the Colorado State University Extension Office. This is actually Fremont County is the applicant for the Great Outdoors Colorado grant application. 7D is awards bid 5019 for sodium chlorite to DuPont Water, not to exceed $14,440. 7E awards bid number 5219 for water meters to Core and Main of Henderson, Colorado, not to exceed $27,157.46. 7F authorizes the acting city administrator to sign the 2020 workers' compensation renewal. 7G authorizes the acting city administrator to sign the 2019-2020 stop-loss renewal. 7H authorizes acting city administrator to sign property and casualty renewal. 7I authorizes the city administrator to sign the renewal, says renewal, but it's the membership dues for Fremont County Economic Development in the amount of $8,500. 7J is the monthly budget summary, and 7K is to receive and file the list of bills.
Are there any questions, additions, or corrections? Mr. Meisner?
First of all, item I, we actually should have acting in there as city administrator. I have a number of questions if you want to move around, if somebody else.
Mr. Hamrick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So on 7C, it says in some places Pathfinder, and in other places it says Fremont County Fairgrounds.
It is Pathfinder.
It is Pathfinder.
Yep.
And so the letter right now says Fremont County Fairgrounds, so that probably needs to read Pathfinder. Is that correct?
They're the same thing.
So this is the livestock upgrades that are happening over at Pathfinder Park.
At Pathfinder Park. I'm just confused. When I think of the Fremont County Fairgrounds, I think of the one up at the top of 9th.
That's 4-H.
Thank you.
Very good, Mayor.
I suppose.
Could we insert an address in it? And put an address on that?
I'm good with calling it
Okay.
the Pathfinder Park. That's unambiguous.
Okay.
Mr. Meisner, back to you.
Back to me. Item J on the monthly budget summary. I may have asked this last month and been embarrassed, but I'll ask it again. Why isn't stormwater in there? Or am I missing something that's in front of me? I mean, we got all these different funds, but when we get to the end, we don't have the stormwater fund. Well, now I see it.
I thought it was in there toward the end. One of your last
I
items.
see it on page 11.
Okay, thank you. But you can ask it next meeting if you'd like.
Huh?
You can ask it again next time.
Okay, I probably will. Just show my intelligence overall.
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple of questions if we have a lull.
Oh, are you Mr.? Okay.
Is that all right while you're looking?
Mr.
things
Meisner
up?
had pushed his button, but you go right ahead. Go ahead.
Ryan, we have been starting to do some contributions to FEDC, and before the beginning of this, my tenure, it came to notice that why I would say we hadn't been contributing was because we were giving them free rent in a sense. And we decided we needed to make that more transparent. And so we changed it to be more transparent and having those donations come in a more open public record way. But as we are starting to give money to FEDC, that's written in black and white, we ask our other entities that we partner with to provide financial information and profit and losses and things like that, or at least accountability for how our money, our Canyon City taxpayer money, was specifically spent. And I was wondering if I would like to see maybe something similar to that.
Sure. So earlier this year, we gave a contribution that was matching funds for, the same grant that's in here. It was for $15,000. We're actually working on, the grant reporting for that has been done and submitted to the state. I'd be happy to share it with council if you're interested. And then the same thing would happen with this letter of support. This letter of support is not currently asking for any funds, but I have budgeted in the economic development budget for next year to help provide some matching funds for that particular grant. And again, we'd be happy to provide the grant reporting to the states to city council for review.
Well, if we contribute matching funds, that's when I would like to see those happen.
This request for $8,500, that is the annual dues that we have not been contributing. That is the same as what the county pays, is $8,500.
Oh, okay. And then on our CIRSA for workers' compensation, I was just curious what our record is for safety among our employees, and if we've had any incidents in the past year.
I can get you some information about number of incidents and claims and things like that if you'd like.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Meissner?
This series of questions is relative to the budget revenues. I see, it looks to me like I got to defer on that question. It's nice that Bob's here, but overall water sales and income looks like it's slightly lower. Is that a concern? I mean, I'm showing we're at 47.6.
Would you like to address that to
I don't care who
Bob
wants to answer
Hartson?
it.
Bob, would you mind coming forward?
I just,
You are the
because this is through July 30th, right?
Through July 31st.
So ideally, that should be over 50%, theoretically.
Theoretically, yes. But, you do have the seasonality in there
Right.
as well. Yeah.
Would you like to comment, Bob?
So do you have any concerns about the 47?
Well, good evening, Councilmember Meisner, Council. Thank you, Mayor. Bob Hartzman, Water Superintendent. As Ryan mentioned, a little bit of seasonal variation going on here, but also from year to year. Now, I can tell you that, yes, production is down. I think last week I told you maybe around 10%, I think, Ryan. As far as production at the water treatment plant, doesn't necessarily correlate to 10% metered consumption, but it's a pretty good indicator that we are behind the curve from where we were last year at this same time. Is it a concern? Well, sure it is when your revenue doesn't come in like you hope it would, but I think we've still, budgets are not quite expended, and we are still doing okay to the best of my knowledge. Again, there is a little bit more of a lag time with that metered consumption data because we have to wait for the following month for all of the information to be posted. So yes, we are down. As far as any concern, nothing raises any red flags right now.
Okay, thanks, Bob.
You bet.
Thanks, Bob. Thank you. Mr. Meissner, just go right ahead.
On the 2A budget portion, why do we have a use tax in there? on the income side?
On the revenue side?
Yeah.
So if there's construction use tax, we do collect a portion of that, and it does go to the 2A funds.
2A funds?
So the sales tax, including 2A funds, is 3%. 1% of that is goes for use tax, or not. 1% goes for 2A. When we do the same calculation for construction materials, that's a half cent that goes towards the 2A funds.
Why is that? That's not,
Well, that's because remember, you either pay the sales tax or the use tax. So if you're not paying the sales tax at Home Depot locally,
I know,
you
Yeah.
still have to pay that 1%
but
towards
how
the
can you put,
2A.
how can you put use tax in the 2A?
Because it's revenue going to that fund. So when we, for example, if there's say Holiday Inn Express as an example, when they paid their use tax up front, they paid a portion of that goes towards the 2A funds.
I
So
understood that the 2A fund only included 2A income, or 2A tax revenue.
that is 2A tax revenue.
Isn't it sales tax?
How can it be 2A tax revenue if it's coming off a use tax? I'm confused.
Use tax is just a different way of calculating the sales tax.
It's just
So like 2A needs their sales tax either way.
Okay.
Mr. Meisner, go right
Is
ahead.
is it possible for the bridge to give us some quarterly projections on their income so that we're not working essentially blind throughout the year?
Something in writing? Absolutely. They give me updates on a fairly monthly basis, so we're expecting that their revenue is going to be flat compared to last year.
Would
Would you
just be
like-
nice, I think, quarterly, if we could plug in some quarterly projections to see where we're at, because that's a chunk.
You get those, though, or you can. That's pretty easy to do.
Yeah, we
So-
can request something that we can plug in on a quarterly basis.
Okay? Yeah, go.
Do you bid out, are you bidding out fuel sales?
The fuel sales, the bulk fuel,
Right,
that gets bid out at the beginning of the year.
at the beginning of the year?
Yes, sir.
And that's what that 17 grand is? I think it was 17, somewhere, in credit card disbursements.
Are you on the list of bills now?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, change subjects.
Yeah, if it's in the list of bills, that should be the bid that went out beginning of the year for fuel sales.
Okay.
Mr. Hamrick?
So, Ryan, ask my question again about our accounting practices here. Is it we're still using the previous format? I've commented a couple of times on
Right,
it.
we're working on changing that.
Okay, that is in the works?
It is.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Meisner, have you exhausted your questions?
No, but
We'll be able to do that shortly.
I'm good, I think.
I don't want to cut you off.
No, it's just, I'm, but I have a question about the administrator's report.
Yes, please feel free to jump in there.
The agency funding looks like it's going, you're projecting to be 2 days?
Based on the number of applications we've received, it could very well be 2 days.
Go ahead.
I think I've asked this question before, but we're replacing the water line on Meadows Avenue,
Mhm.
and that's a 2A project. I live right off of Meadows, and I'm curious as to what the vehicle count is on Meadows. Meadows goes between 9th and a dead end into an alfalfa field. And we're replacing the section, I think, between 9th and 11th. Why couldn't we take those
Bob-
funds
Bob,
and
did you wanna come
replace
up
half
and-
of a block of 9th Street?
Just from the 2A standpoint?
Yeah.
I think it had to do, and we'll have Bob speak here in a moment, but that particular set of water line needed to be replaced. And
Okay, I don't have a problem with that. But the projection here is that it's being replaced for 2A.
That's correct. Again, as we've kind of discussed before, the water department is having trouble keeping up with the 2A project list because of funding. Well, we've got higher water main priorities than where they want to go recon a street at. Meadows happens to be one of those. We've had multiple water main failures going on for several years now. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you recall, the first year we did 2A and Kiewit did Yale Avenue, we ruptured up there on Meadows Avenue and it flooded them downstream there. This is, again, from the water department's perspective, we needed to replace this water main.
And I don't have a problem with that. But if we're going to expend 2A funds on a street, 2 blocks of a street, that the car count on that, and maybe it's 10 cars in a month?
yeah, I can check the car count, but I also want to double check that against how that road was graded for street reconstruction.
Yeah, there's like 17 residents I know in those 2 blocks, so I imagine.
I'm sorry, 17 a month.
Well,
Twice a day at least.
Yeah, but the access to nursing home is,
Well, but all the streets were graded, and that you're responsible. If they were coming apart, then it was graded to be fixed.
And then sometimes they
So-
try to do the hand-in-hand, the water main fixing hand-in-hand with 2A.
I don't
To get it
disagree.
all done in one big thing.
So,
Let's see where Meadows is at on that list.
yeah, well, I can get you the grading list and get that
Okay.
information to you.
yeah, I mean, as far as the condition of the street, I mean, it's shot. It's one of the worst streets in town as far as I know. The patch repairs we do probably
Right.
become the best part of the street. But again, you know, when we have to chase the 2A street recon work, that gives us less money to go to other problem areas. I've got water mains out in Lincoln Park, for example, that are undersized, galvanized, that we have a lot of leaks on that.
Right.
And street recon's never going to go out there. So we're just trying to balance it. I believe in 2021, maybe, we're going to be looking at more streets that don't need water main infrastructure so that Water Fund can spend its money on some other higher priority infrastructure.
Right, but Bob, this statement says that the Meadows was in preparation for 2A. That's what the
It was
statement said.
2A was on the list for this year, and had the monies come in, then we would have, after we replaced the water main, it would have got reconned.
Okay, thank you.
That was my understanding.
Okay, Ms. Smith? Thank you,
Miss-
Bob.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion that we adopt the agenda and consent agenda.
As modified.
Okay. Pardon?
As modified.
And modified in which way? What did we modify?
We added acting in front of the
Okay,
administrator.
all right.
Second.
Second. Made and seconded. Any discussions on that motion? Everybody clear? We're putting the acting in there?
He's acting.
You're right. Would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Cochran? Aye. Councilmember Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilmember Hamrick?
Aye.
Councilmember Jaquez?
Aye.
Councilmember Meisner?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Aye.
Unanimously carried.
Okay. Mr. Acting Administrator, do you have a report?
Yeah, Mayor and members of council, I've submitted a written report. The one thing I do want to draw attention to is that we do have the Colorado Department of Local Affairs will be coming to town on Tuesday, October 8th to do a presentation on the Colorado Main Street program. We'll be doing that at Fremont Center for the Arts starting at 5:30. They will be arriving in town earlier, and I may call on some of you for some discussion ahead of time, just to give them an idea of the area and the priorities of council.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions of council? Ms. Gonzalez?
She pushed her button first. Ms. Cochran.
Are we doing buttons or hands?
Okay, Amanda is in here, in my queue,
To be
Amanda
fair.
is first.
Let's be fair here.
Soon to be a mother,
Has
Amanda.
there been any progress on hiring a new HR?
We actually have interviews on Thursday.
Okay,
So we've got a first round of interviews on Thursday.
okay.
Ms. Smith?
What are we going to be doing about replacing our building inspector? And I have some concerns because we've been going through a lot of building inspectors the last 3 years.
We have put it out, social media, newspaper. We've reached out to the building associations as well, building inspector associations. And then I am also working with the Workforce Center to get the job posted and trying to find possible replacements.
And will you be doing an exit interview?
Yes.
So I really want to know what, and more in depth, the details behind it, besides his higher calling for a different job. Just I'm really curious about the climate in that department.
Sure.
Okay, Ms. Gonzalez?
Ashley hit on my question. Thank you. And then also, have we picked a date yet for community agency funding? Dates, now that it's might be 2 days.
I do not have a date yet, but we will send something out.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Hamrick?
Thank you. Ryan, can you, or Corey, whatever's appropriate, can you share with us a little bit more details about the interview process? That is it over several days? How many people do we have so far? Any details like that?
For the Human Resources Director?
Yes.
Okay. We have partnered with the Employers Council. They are providing technical assistance. They're experts in human resources. They provided, we have a committee of department heads that went through and reviewed resumes. We gave a short list of those resumes to the Employers Council, who did phone screens. And then we have 2 candidates that are going forward on Thursday, with possibly 2 more that we might be looking at.
Are we going to use a similar job for the administrator's position, a similar process?
I'll let Corey answer that.
We are still receiving resumes. I don't know what the process is going to be yet. We're going to compile all the resumes and get them to the council once they're compiled.
That's a process.
It was posted on Friday of about 9 days ago, and we gave it a month.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? I see no buttons being lit. Okay, I just want to make a comment. There was a comment made about our council, and we have attended a total of 83 meetings. None of them really secret, by the way. Let me just recount to you. The regular city council meetings, and if you're running for office, don't be scared off. But since the first of the year, we've attended 83 meetings.
Yeah, full disclosure.
Just a disclosure, 18 of which are regular city council meetings, TV. Executive sessions were 9. General government meetings were 9. General government meeting 2, which is the second one we've added, there were 3 of those. We've had 8 vision committee meetings, and for a total of, we've had 39 special city council meetings. I think that's what's misunderstood. We go by the law. I don't know if previous councils did this or not, but if we think there's more than 2 council members, the mayor and council, going to be there, Cindy, our astute clerk, will always publicize it. That's the law. That's state law. We had 36 of those. Now, that includes meetings with the state prisons, and the prison, we call it the Big House meeting, where we meet with the wardens for both federal and state, the tours that we go on, the new committee meeting, the interviews for new committee meetings, retreats. We went to CML, which is the Colorado Municipal League. All those meetings, that there might be a chance, a banquet, it's all considered a special city council meeting. No secrets there. So whoever said that ought to be ashamed of themselves, in my opinion. Okay? Any other comments?
I think the only comment I'd make, those special meetings all were posted and open to the public to attend as well.
Yep. All right. We're adjourned. Thank you.